Evening everybody, Silverbolt here, back for a Transformers review. Not doing the review that I originally intended to do, because for some strange reason, ever since last Thursday I've been trying to upload this video, but YouTube won't accept it. I don't know why. So I'm trying again. And so you're getting this week's review, well, depending on which way you look at it, either 2 days early or about 5 days late. Depends on which way you want to look at it. Anyway, I got the idea for this video from Adam. We were discussing it earlier on during the week. I say earlier on during the week, I actually mean yesterday evening. But there we go. And I decided to do this video on, as per the title page obviously, shell formers. Now a shell former, like Seeker, is a fan dub. It's a fan terminology that has been around for a fair few years. And it's usually done in a derogatory fashion. Not necessarily always fairly. I mean, there are very bad examples of shell formers. One of the most notorious shell former is Break, which is this ugly sod, isn't he? Yes, the giant penguin. I actually don't have Break as a toy for quite obvious reasons for anybody who just saw the fact that he's an Emperor Penguin. Incidentally, if anybody actually wants to know a little bit about the toy, his spring-loaded missile launching function is located in his arse. So there we go. Kind of like Hot Rod's, kind of looks like he's just lit a, kind of like Classics Rodimus, just looks like he's kind of like lit a fart. But there we go. Anyway, Break is one of the most obvious examples of shell former, and for those of you who actually need explaining, a shell former is a transformer where usually the alternate mode, it involves in some ways just pretty much just folding the robot inside and closing the pieces together. Break's a very good example of that. Another good example of that would be Big Convoy, which is Optimus Primal, where he was, I believe, a mastodon. Yes, but there we go. Now, one range of toys that's not Transformers, that were very much ultimates in shell formers, were the Rock Lords. This is Nugget. Very, very glaringly bright, because he's gold, but Nugget might, Nugget might get a little bit of a review of his own another time. And the Rock Lords are very much shell former, because they literally just went fold in, fold in, fold in, done. You got a pebble. Okay, but so the review of the shell form that I wanted to do today, and it gives me another excuse to do a review of a character that I've already done, namely Classics Megatron. Obviously, I have already done a Megatron review, though the less said about that particular little video and that particular toy, which incidentally I've never got replaced, the less said the better. But there we go. Right, now then, Classics Megatron is obviously a gun, and he is very, very much a shell former. Now, a lot of people have complained about this for whatever reason, mainly because he bears a strikingly stark resemblance to the Nerf Predator. There's no one there, this is just fun. There we go. Yes, the Nerf... The dog's vanished, she hates the noise of this thing. No, I don't shoot her with it. But yes, so Classics Megatron does bear a startling resemblance to the Nerf Predator. Very much similarity, apart from the fact that the Nerf Predator doesn't have the giant sights. It does, however, have this rather large barrel-looking thing in it. Now, as such, Master Beast Megatron has been called the Nerf Gun Megatron for various reasons. And I don't really know why. Well, I do know why, because it looks like a Nerf gun. But, you know what? People have been complaining that Megatron hasn't been a gun since G1. They get him in a gun, and they complain about him. I mean, Hasbro really sometimes must scratch their heads at the fandom and think, can we ever please you lot? But there we go. Now, the reason why he is so much a shell former, for those of you who don't have him, is the way that you transform him. And just to give you an idea of the parts, you flip down the side here, and that's his insides. Now, That's one leg there. I'll transform him in a minute, but that's one leg there. That's one arm. That's his body piece there. And I'm holding his other leg. Now, for a shell former, Classics Megatron is remarkably well thought out. For a much more common version of a shell former that most people will be aware of, look at G1 Scourge. Fold the head, shove in the arms, snap at the wings, done. Oh, and turn the legs round. Compare that to this little boy. Much more, much more complicated, much more thought gone into it. Even has little clicky noises. Doesn't fire everything, obviously, because it's got a big orange... The fabulous orange nozzle of protecting Edominus. But anyway, transforming him basically, once you've got the hang of it, it's actually quite simple. Simply fold down both halves of the barrel, so they're like that, or however way you want to do it, and pretty much just unfold it. So you've got one arm here. You take the body part, turn it round, and snap it into place. The arm folds over, and you just turn it round so it ratchets into place. The other arm, again, is simply a case of just push it in, turn it round, flip down the front, take the head out, and then the last thing is the legs, obviously. So you don't want him looking like he's doing some kind of weird Britain's Got Talent dance. Basically, unclip the trigger from the leg, fold it up, turn it round, and you've got Megatron's back piece like that. And then just unfold the legs, which is easy enough to do. Again, these are all on ratchet joints, so. And then last but not least, unfold the hands from inside the wrists. Classic status at this stage. The fusion cannon is underslung, and it just clips into place underneath his arm. And the barrel, the plating on the sides of the gun form wings, which, you know what, I have to say looks quite nice attached to this figure. I really think it's quite a nice little touch. I mean, in all fairness, right, at least the trigger is on his back and isn't part of his crotch. You know what, we can all be thankful of that one, in all fairness. It doesn't have great posability in the legs. Now, it's articulated at the hips, and it's articulated at the knees. But because of the way it stands, it doesn't have great posability without him looking like he's about to lean over. So there we go. My other major gripe with this toy, aside from the posability, is the arm cannon. I just don't like the fact that it's underslung. No real problems with it per se. I'm not one of these things, well, it's not on the top of his arm, so it can't be G1 Megatron. It's not that. It just doesn't look right to me. Underslung weaponry, and the size of it, it just looks completely out of place. Because, of course, it's you know, in direct homage to the Generation 1 toy, it is the sight of the gun. Which I always thought was really, really weird. The sight of the gun forms his arm cannon, whereas the barrel of the gun just sticks at the back. But there we go. So that's my only other point of contention, is that it's underslung, and you can turn it round and try not to pay attention to the fact that the fist is now upside down. But there we go. I mean, imagine if you really wanted to fiddle with it, you could take out the spring. Actually, you could take out the screw that's in there, take the hand out and turn it upside down. You suppose you could do that, but then you get the problem of that it doesn't actually bend that way. Can't bend at the elbow because the barrel's in the way. Whereas if you keep it underslung, it bends quite nicely at the elbow. So there we go. There we go. You know, as I said, I'm not one of these abject haters of fans Megatron. If you don't like these colours, and they are rather G2-y, gary colours, I have to say, then you can always get the Henke version, which is repainted into the proper well, into the more normal G1 Megatron colours, but of course, with it being Henki, and to those of us who aren't lucky enough to live in Japan, you'll pay through the nose for it. So, there we go. But yes, that's my review of Classics Megatron done, and on the notion of shell formers. Hopefully this will upload properly and I won't have any more problems getting videos done. Maybe it might have just been a bit of a glitch in the Omega Supreme video, I don't know. But for now then, this is Silverbolt with Classics Megatron, signing off, saying au revoir, adios, auf Wiedersehen.